All right, let's get it started right away. The people of Osun State would have to wait until September the 27th to know who their next governor is going to be.
This is because the Independent Electoral Commission will hold a runoff election in Osun governorship poll on that day, after it was declared inconclusive by the returning officer earlier in the day.
Yeah, the runoff will take place in affected local government areas where results were cancelled. The local government, Orulu local government area with 942 votes cancelled, Ife South local government with 547 votes cancelled, Ife North local government with 337 votes cancelled, and the next is Osogbo local government area with about 800 votes cancelled. All 48 political parties will take part in the runoff election or exercise.
Earlier, the returning officer Joseph Owakpe said it was not possible to declare anyone the clear winner on the first ballot because the difference in the votes between the top two contenders is lesser than the total number of registered voters in polling units where ballots were cancelled. The ruling APC had 254,345 votes, while the PDP polled 254,698 votes.
The total number of registered voters at the polling units where elections were cancelled is 3,498. We will recall that early this morning we presented reasons why a candidate could be returned or candidate may not be returned. The margin, according to the election guideline, where the margin of win between two leading candidates is not in excess of the total number of registered voters of the polling units where elections were cancelled, a candidate or a party may not be returned. From the analysis of results that we have, the difference between the two leading parties is just 353. And the number of voters in units where elections were cancelled is 3,498. To that effect, unfortunately, as a returning officer, it's not possible to declare any party as the clear winner of this election on the first ballot. The Independent National Electoral Commission will announce the date when another ballot will take place. Thank you. I hereby declare the election inconclusive. I, Joseph Adiola Fuakwe, hereby declare this election inconclusive. Thank you.
You know, when it gets to the level, by the powers vested in me as the returning officer, I hereby declare, you know, that's where the power is. But it's all right. That was the declaration of INEC yesterday. Everyone was following what was the outcome of the election. But people have reaction. Like we said earlier on, there are debates on the streets as to why it should be declared inconclusive.
That's right.
You know, and all of that. But
there are several interpretations of the laws.
Several interpretations. But we have to look forward to clarify all of these from those who have been watching it. We have a journalist and a social activist joining us right now, Fumi Komolafe, in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's nice to have you join us.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for coming.
Good.
Thank you too.
So it's been an interesting sight. There are some who would say that in Yoruba land they say to know whether the Sunday will be good, you can tell from the preceding Saturday. I was also amazing facts involved in the just concluded first ballot. 75.5% of PVCs were collected, arguably the highest number in the history of elections. We also saw the high number of candidates who participated, 48 of them. What would you say was responsible for achieving that kind of a feat?
Well, I think society has benefited from a lot of voter education. People now know that, I mean, you can no longer sit back and say it doesn't matter. And perhaps, of course, people now have a bit of confidence that votes will count. If you're sure that votes will count, then what we have seen is a result of some form of confidence that votes will count. So if people are confident that votes will count, then they go collect PVCs and then be at the booth.
Right. Now, the election, as far as the laws were concerned, INEC was acting based on the recommendation of its rules and guidelines, where the results from an election or the difference, the cancelled election or cancelled votes are more than the difference between the two leading. As far as the law is concerned, that is it. But the different political parties have different reaction to this, because there was someone who was leading already, even though by about 300, above 300 votes. What is your reaction to this?
Politicians are honest, incurable optimists, if I may put it that way. You know, it's clear that only one person will be governor. 48 people think they will be governor. But they know in their hearts there's only one person that will be governor. Now, first of all, let me commend INEC. I think INEC has done not just itself proud, but the nation proud. First is that they refuse to turn a blind eye to the issue of vote buying, which, if they had decided to do nothing about it, heavens will not fall. It didn't start now. It's been on. Secondly, I think INEC has tried to be fair to all, and that's the role it should play, actually. I think INEC is right. 353 to 3,000 plus, it is significant. It is significant. Any party that believes in fairness should just tag along with INEC. And a winner will emerge. We are in the situation that we have found ourselves in Osun now, because the winner did not win convincingly. The loser also didn't lose convincingly. So we're in between. That's right. So the fair thing to do, I disagree vehemently with the suggestion that a party should go to court. To do what? Okay. To stop INEC from doing its work? If you stop INEC from doing its work, are you going to call soldiers to come and
conduct the
election? If you are confident that you will win this rerun, why go to court? Go to the voter. The stage we are now, when I saw paper reports saying going to Mishore, going to, I just, giggled. Look, it is the voter that has the final say at this stage.
And it's very interesting. It has never been this fair and square that it now lies in the hands of the voters. And I can imagine how proud those concerned voters will feel right now.
It has always been. It has always been. The final word, or who gets the post, is the voter. But the voter's choice has always been a subject of, manipulation by the powers that be, using all sorts of tactics, but ballot snatching, you shoot into the air, people are scared away. That's why we have never had it this fine. We had it this fine in 1993,
Exactly.
The NKO election.
Of course.
So
the option A4.
It has always been the voter that should decide.
There are some who would say that the situation we find ourselves in is an offshoot of having quite a number of candidates. If you look at the 4 top contenders, it's a situation where, unlike where you have a horse trade, a 2-horse trade, like we say, between one party or the other, look at the following 2 parties, and the figures could easily swing the votes to the other side.
That's true.
The situation where we have 91 parties in 2019, are we looking forward to an endless season of inconclusive elections?
I hope we won't get to that stage in 2019. But if what we are seeing here is anything to go by, there's a possibility that we could get that far. But to talk about whether we should have multiple parties or two parties, I think with the multi-party system is still desirable.
It's still better for Nigeria.
Because the truth of the matter is that even in places like US and Britain, where you have conservatives and Labour Party or the Republicans and the Democrats, it doesn't mean that there are no other parties. There are other parties, but there are two major parties. And what's going to happen in Osun now? Even INEC says 48 parties are contesting. 48 parties are not going to get votes. What we need now, the stage that Osun is now, two parties. No right, reasonable voter will cast his vote for any of the other 46, knowing that that vote is going to be a waste.
Now, why did INEC needed to? Why did INEC need to involve all the other parties?
No.
At this time?
INEC cannot shut parties out. But parties on their own.
But it's apparent that this figure is not going to help any other party.
Yeah, but
apart from the
parties
two top
on their
top
own
contenders
can pull out.
Okay.
So look,
and realign.
I'm on the 48th bottom. You know, first from the rear. What else am I going to do? But you know how our people are. These things are calculated for personal advantage. The person on ladder 48 might say, okay, I have supporters. My supporters will vote for you. What will you give me in return? It's not for nothing. But I think that I'm even more worried that the rerun may not be the exact result of the people's desire.
How do you mean?
How is that?
Now, it's clear now that this rerun is a straight fight or a straight struggle between APC and the PDP.
Yeah.
Therefore, both are going to be desperate. Everything will be put in place to ensure that either A gets it or B gets it. Voter inducement is going to come. Anything will come to play because of the desperation. And I think that elections shouldn't get that far. I would rather prefer that by now we're talking of a clear winner. That's why I say if you want to win, you better win convincingly. I mean, we didn't have this in the kitty. Okay? So that's what it should be. But this one that we're going to have on Thursday, I doubt whether it will be a true reflection of what the people want. But then I must commend INEC.
Yeah, you started by commending INEC and
Yes,
you still commending
I
INEC,
still
and
commend
all
INEC.
Nigerians commend INEC.
Yeah.
But the point there is, if INEC is able to do it right that time, then they should be able to do it right the other time
INEC
too.
will not cast votes.
Yeah, exactly. But they are those
INEC will
to
not
conduct
cast.
the election.
My commendation
Yeah.
for INEC is to have it so soon.
Okay.
And people were thinking that it would be Saturday. But they decided, come on, only a few votes. Let's go do it on Thursday, which is fine. INEC will not cast votes. INEC is supposed to be a neutral umpire, and that's what it is. So it is the voter. Maybe now, maybe conscience or rice or naira will be the deciding factor,
All right,
which is very unfortunate.
Yeah. I guess we're getting there somehow, where for every extra election we conduct, we get better, because it's like an experimentation of how resilient we can be or how tolerant we can be and all of that. If we compare this Osun election with Ekiti election, how much difference has it been in the outcome of the overall election from what you see?
Ekiti election took many people by surprise.
Okay.
I mean, people didn't think that Fayose, the people's governor, could be defeated so easily. But you know, maybe not so easily, but
About 20,000
convincingly.
votes.
APC won convincingly there. And that's what we are not having in Osun now. Okay? So that's the difference. And that's why we have gotten to where we are now in Osun. And I think that what we have in Osun today, yes, it's a demonstration of people's faith in the system. People, we are deepening democracy. People are getting more. But where we are now, will the results actually be the people's choice?
You know, as fantastic as INEC performance was widely acclaimed to be, there are some who would say that the only reason why the election is inconclusive is because the process wasn't perfect in some areas. In places where votes were cancelled, there were incidents of ballot snatching. According to the INEC presiding officer, there was a situation where the number of votes cast were more than the number of people who were accredited. And the more we have these incidences, the more imperfect our electoral process is going to turn out to be. How do you see us, you know, blocking these loopholes in subsequent elections?
Well, I am not sure that at the stage we are with our democracy, we are getting close to perfection. I don't think so. This type of incidences that we have seen are lessons or guides to have it better the next time. For instance, when you talk of overvoting in booths, how do we expect INEC to handle this? Okay, there's a list, okay? You come, you tick. At some point, the electoral officer should know that everyone on this list has, you know, been accredited and is ready to vote. Where is the excess coming from?
Exactly.
So the discretion of the electoral officer is very important there. If I have 350 and 350 have actually come in, you know, accredited and voted, and I check my list and there's no person who is missing, who has not cast his or her vote, why should I allow another person to cast votes? It's part of the manipulation that we're talking about.
You know, it also brings us to the question of prosecuting electoral offenders. The reasons why we are where we are now, shouldn't that be investigated? Why were those, you know, results cancelled, for instance? Because we are all carried away by, oh, there has to be a runoff, there has to be a rerun, but nobody goes back to check what actually transpired in these local government areas where elections were cancelled.
I'm sure INEC knows. If INEC doesn't have that information, it will not say there's need for rerun or there's need for cancellation. But I'm sure that what you're saying, that action is going to be taken. But first, let us conclude first.
Hopefully.
I think that's what INEC is doing.
All right. You were talking about the other 46 political parties or candidates earlier on. I want to put them based on value to the people, or to the victory now, as the case may be. The two main political parties, APC and PDP, have come close to winning, but the others are still behind one way or the other at whatever level they are. How valuable do you think the other candidates and political parties will be in the Thursday rerun election?
I don't see much value, honestly. I said earlier that to vote for those parties, you know that you're wasting your vote. It's clear. There's no...
But that's on the ideal.
Yeah.
The political party like APC and PDP now, don't you think they will look for ways of reaching out to these other parties and seeing how to win them to their side or something?
Is it parties that vote or voters? Parties don't vote. It is the electorate, individuals vote.
But in a way, the party structures influence the voters.
I agree. I agree. But if you could not influence the voter to be at the top of what value is your influence, that's why I say I think it's a waste of time going to talk to parties. The thing is a door-to-door thing now. It's you and I, face to face me. Face me, I face you. It's a face me, I face you
Already,
now.
But we have situations where there are some enclaves, there are some areas that are strongholds of some certain political parties that are not APC or are not PDP.
I agree.
If it is a door-to-door thing, for instance, if I am ADP, for instance, if I'm an ADP supporter and a card-carrying member, for instance, or me and my family and me and my brothers, and then you come to sell your you as APC or PDP come to sell your candidates to me for the Thursday election, I might want to listen to my leaders to find out if they want me to cast my vote for you or not.
Yes, this is Naira boom for the party leaders. It's just as straight as that. Yes.
Is it about the Naira?
I just told you that what will play out in this election,
Okay.
it's not even conscience of people now, but the level of inducement. The party leaders, yes, you have to woo them. Okay, talk to your people too. You don't talk, you don't
talk empty-handed.
Empty-handed. You don't talk empty-handed. And that's the unfortunate aspect of it. But I agree with you. I mean, to an extent, that could be a factor. But again, don't forget that the individual is also not a moron. Okay? The individual also can think that, look, wait a minute. That's why I said earlier that at the level of party, it's going to be a matter of bargaining. What do I get from you if my people vote for you? And I want to believe that in virtually all these booths, many, if not all the parties, have words. They know one another. If you are in APC, you are likely to know the leaders of ADB or ADP or whatever, or MPN or whatever, in that word, because it's the same area. You have meetings separately, so you know one another. So at some point, of course you need to talk to them, but the deciding factor, the vote that will decide, is the individuals.
You know, already the papers today have already started talking, postulating who the game changers are. You need the party A or B has to speak with this particular individual who has a stronghold in this area or the other. But then the issue of vote buying, you know, was quite predominant in the preceding days to this election. INEC as well as security operatives appear to have done a good job at the polling booth. But there are people who are saying you need to check the account numbers of these 3,498 voters and find out that, you know, no inducement takes place. How is INEC going to, you know, quell this challenge? Because this is not going to be about money exchanging hands on election day.
Yeah, because people are
already started now.
People, both the people doing the inducing and those who are being induced are wiser now.
The inducer and the inducing. If there's anything like that.
If there's anything like that. They know that the right day to do it is not on the election day. It's not at the polling booth where you snap and that one won't work. So even as you and I are talking now, that thing has started. But don't forget that. Is it every money, every naira that gets to the bank if you check accounts? Look, these are rural people. They don't have bank accounts. It's under pillow. Are you going to check?
Check the economic status.
Exactly.
Are you going to go to the farm to know how much is hidden under the cocoa tree? You know, but on a very, very serious note, Ife, for instance, this election produced a lot of surprises. I'm sure Omishere will be shocked because of all the candidates, he appears to be the most experienced. He has been deputy governor. He's had to contest this election 1 or 2 times, and he hasn't gotten there.
There are some who would say that win or lose, he's still on the winning side because as the case is now, he appears to have the swing votes. There is rerun in Ife North and Ife South, where he appears to be the main man.
Yeah, I agree.
At least now his former party will take him more seriously.
Where is Lasson from? Lasson is Lasson from Ife as well. I don't know. But I saw one paper and said Lasson, Omishori, I don't know where they are from.
He was on one of the papers this morning saying that Lasson and Omishori will determine. I think it's one of the papers you have there. Exactly.
That's right.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think that's the one. Omishori, Lasson, others to decide. That's besides the 3,498 voters. I think it has to do with those places being their strongholds.
That's right.
Most likely. Well, they could have some influence, but that influence that they have is not because of the love. It will not play out because of the love of Osun people. It will be for the love of what I can get, what they can get. It will be for what they can benefit as individuals. And that will be unfortunate.
Well, let's even look at the Osun people themselves. What kind of governor would they be looking, or are they looking at, or expecting to have following this election?
If you look at Osun State, Osun can be, if you look at the Southwest, Osun can be said to be very close to Ekiti in terms of the number of intellectuals that it has produced. I don't want to mention names, but there are very prominent people that have come from that place. That's a state that values education. Okay? So I believe that if, and that's a big if they still value education, if they have not been pushed to the level where they're not saying, what's the benefits of going to school when we don't have jobs? Because that's a factor. If they have been pushed to that level, it will be unfortunate. But if they're still looking at, look, one thing no one can take away from you, which is why Western Nigeria continues to celebrate Chief Awolowo even in death, it's education. If they still place priority on education, knowing that with education, there is no stopping you. There is no limit to the advancement of society. Then it's up to them to, I don't want to make speculations, it's up to them to decide what they want. But I think it is to their benefit not to think, look at the negative by saying, oh, where are the jobs? No, no, no. The jobs may not be there today. But what you have in your brain, no one can take it away from you.
It's invaluable. All right, Fumi Komolafe, journalist and social activist, thank you so much for spending the morning with us.
Thank you for coming around.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.